You probably know there's a podcast out called Who Trolled Amber? And now the Mail Online is jumping into this and printing something from Alex Monstrous, who put out the podcast about how, well, let's just say 50% of Johnny fans on Twitter, now X, were bots. I guess I'm not in that percentage. But who knows? Maybe I'm AI generated. I'm not real. All these thousands of videos defending Johnny, staying up at night between taking care of my kids and stuff. It wasn't me, it was some AI bot doing it. But alright, I shouldn't have given myself up. It's called, with a long ass title, Did Swordy Trolls Help Johnny Depp Win Battle with Amber Heard? That's the troubling question raised by a months long investigation which analyzed a million tweets, many of which trashed the actress's reputation and bolstered his. Because Johnny, who's been around since 1985 with a huge organic fan base since way before the days of any of this crap came out, needs bots. But Amber, who's pretty much unliked, has no solid fan base, is relatively new to the scene compared to Johnny, she doesn't need bots. People like Amber and people believe Amber. That's how it goes, right? I guess for Alexi, that's how it goes. But when we step down out of our spaceships and our feet touch reality, we get the real picture. The real picture is this. Yes, there are some bots, like there are with all things. But no, not 50% were against Amber. I'll be generous by saying 5%. Just like with everything else in the world that's on this level or close to it, there's gonna be bots. But I guess Alexi needs to make up some crazy, twisty conspiracies. It's like 15 pages here. Not gonna read it word for word. Let's go over the funniest points. On the surface, they look like genuine Johnny Depp fans. Their social media accounts are filled with pictures of the Hollywood star, and they tweet up to 20 times a day praising Depp and trashing his former wife, Amber Heard. Honestly, tweeting 20 times is kind of a lot, but it's not really unheard of or completely crazy or abnormal. People are on Twitter all the time, 24/7, every day, tweeting what's on their mind. So it's, I mean, kind of close to an average, to be honest. But alright, a little high. But of course, we know that's true, because Alexi says it's true. Amber's an abuser and a liar, claims one. She's a traitor, another says. She disgusts me. Adding, Johnny's innocent. He's a legend. Well, the fact is, yes, Johnny is a legend. Amber is a liar. Johnny is innocent. Okay. Mindlessly tweeting it isn't like the best thing to do every day, but it's true. And what I've said here is, if it's true, it's worth repeating. Except these accounts aren't run by genuine fans at all. The evidence suggests they're controlled by paid human trolls with links to the Saudi government. And they know that because Johnny made these movies recently with Saudi backing, right? Wow, that makes so much sense. Are they going to mention Russia and the threat to our democracy? I wonder. I'm going to guess yes, they are. But I cheated. I read ahead. But I didn't have to read ahead because that's what they do. They've been doing this with Star Wars, politically, with anything they don't agree with. It's Russia, it's bots, it's this government, it's that, whatever it is. It's not Johnny fans. It's the boogeyman. It's the Loch Ness monster. Guess what, guys? Candyman's real. Don't say it in front of the mirror. Then they say in 2022, Johnny won a defamation case against Heard in the US. They said it was a stunning comeback victory for the actor. Then they mentioned the UK. Fine. But before the US trial, thousands of pro-Depp accounts sprang up on social media. Heard's team suspected someone had hired bots. Of course. You know why? They didn't have evidence. They didn't have truth on their side, so they need to pull out something. Ooh, I guess bots. That's what it was. That's what it always is. Yet, were they right after all? For months, I've been investigating whether Heard was subjected to an organized trolling campaign, and if so, who was responsible. The results are released today in Who Trolled Amber. Are you going to blame, let me think, Adam Waldman? Are you going to blame Incredibly Average? I think Tug got off the hook on this one. Whoops, I read ahead. Here's where they say it: 50% of all tweets that criticized Amber were inauthentic, of course. So that means it wasn't like, I don't know, 50 million criticizing her. It was only like 25 million or something. Even if that was true, it would still be a huge number. But who am I to say? They've got the evidence, they've got the experts, and of course, they've got the truth on their side. And I'm not being sarcastic at all. Alexi's a genius. They examined 1 million tweets. They even hired an ex spy to take a look. And that spy said there's a 0.1% chance this was all organic. Right, so let me get this straight. One of the biggest actors in history, who's been around since 1985, has a 0.1% chance by a former spy's calculation that it's organic. Huh. I said the other day this was written to fool teenagers, and I think we've got the proof right here. I apologize for the try not to laugh video. I'm not doing so bad. I'm not quite laughing out loud yet. I'm going to give it like a 90% or more chance it was organic. That's my silly, unprofessional, non expert opinion. I just try to use some common sense. As well as anti Herd trolls, we found some pro Depp accounts with links to Saudi Arabia. Could it be because the news of Johnny working with Saudi Arabia just came out, so it's good timing now for you guys to try to make it look like he had something to do with them? Saudis are the masters of online disinformation. Wait, I thought that was Russia. I guess not. I guess it's Saudis now because they need it to be Saudis because Johnny had some movies backed by the Saudis. If it was the Irish, they would say the Irish are the masters of disinformation. If it was the Canadians Johnny worked with, well, you guessed it. It would be the Canadians who are masters of disinformation, but they need it to be the Saudis. They ask why Saudi would want to do this. That's a good question. I think the Saudis have together, I mean, cumulatively, trillions of dollars. They really have no reason to help Johnny with anything unless they think he's a good actor and they want him to be a cultural ambassador, like they said, which would make sense because you can't really buy culture with money. You could probably throw up some signs and propaganda and show some certain shows and try to change the culture, but that's more of a forced way to do it. If you get someone like Johnny, you have a chance of actually changing the culture a little bit. Makes sense to me. Of course, they know nothing's off limit between Johnny and his buddy Saudi friends, because that information's so readily available to them. I forgot. Alexi's a journalist, or a pseudo journalist, or a podcaster, or whatever. They go on to say that today anyone can pay for bots and leave a little trace of their actions. He says he asked two data experts, Zuhan Chen of NYU and Chai-Cheng Zhang of Northeastern University, and they found numerous examples of inauthentic activity, of course. Bot networks in Thailand, Spain, AI generated profiles. It's a worldwide conspiracy, all to criticize Amber, because that's what people were doing with those bots. It's an international conspiracy to win Virginia. I would have never guessed. Thank you, Daily Mail. This is enlightening. In one case, more than 100 Twitter accounts sent 1,000 identical messages at exactly the same time to any company that worked with Heard. The message read, "This brand supports domestic violence against men." I've never seen it. I made, I'm going to say, about 2,000 videos A lot of those were scouring Twitter, following every piece of news I could on Amber, on Johnny, on Walman, on their lawyers, everything. I've never seen that. I did this every day for 2 years or more. You'd think if these bots were such a thing, I would have run into some. They say between 2016 and 2022, 800,000 tweets were posted with the hashtag Amber is an A word. Right, because Johnny's got like 50 million fucking fans. So if like 2% of them tweeted, that's pretty believable. Only 15,000 with Johnny Depp is an A word. Right, because Amber's got like 39 fans who posted every day for 2 years. They got up to like 15,000. It's pretty simple, Alexi. And they show some other tweets saying things like Amber's a gold digger, a W word. Amber never cared about money. We know that. Out of all the things I say about Amber, I can't say she cared about money. Of course not. And then they get into something I can't really talk about. Let's just say election issues. And of course, interfered by you know who also was concerned about how people thought about Amber Heard. It makes so much sense. I feel like I'm reborn here. He mentions Adam Walman. He says Adam Walman was kicked out of Virginia. I can't quite remember that. I thought the only one kicked out was Eve Barlow, but I could be wrong, but I don't remember that. And he admits he couldn't prove that Adam commissioned the bot army because he didn't, so of course he can't prove it. But he did find evidence that Adam was willing to talk to real life trolls. What the fuck is a troll to these people? What's a troll? Can you define troll? It's just a trash smear word. I mean, I guess I'm a troll. I'm putting my opinion out there, so I'm a troll. If you say Johnny's a legend, even though he actually literally is a legend, you're a troll. If you say Amber defamed Johnny, which she certainly did, I guess you're a troll. So who the fuck isn't a troll to these people? I think these people wake up and they just start seeing trolls everywhere. Then they just start writing random shit. That's what it feels like. And of course, they gotta mention some YouTubers. When YouTuber Brian McPherson, known as that Brian fella or Incredibly Average, published a recording 7 minutes had been cut from the original audio, making her appear less sympathetic than in the full recording. All right, you know what? Maybe some was edited. I'm not exactly sure. I can't say personally, but we heard what we needed to hear. We heard that real side of Amber. We heard that tone in her voice. We heard her lose it. There's a few details I don't have time to cover. I might get back to it. But he says now he provoked Depp's troll army. I guess I'm one of them. I guess I'm like a lieutenant or something. I've got around 30,000 subscribers. And I guess I'm a bot too. Maybe an AI creation. And he ends with something kind of interesting. Even when we can show that trolls and bots are part of a campaign of disinformation, it's almost impossible to prove who's responsible and call them to account. Well, isn't that convenient? You definitely know this is going on, but you don't know who. That's impossible. Good work, Alexi. Full circle. You're saying something's happening, but you can't prove it and you don't know who. Well, Johnny abused me, but I can't prove it. I just know it's happening. Sounds familiar. This article's super long. I might get back to it, so consider this kind of an intro to it. I've got a splitting headache. This is going to be a huge edit. Not going to sleep much, but this had to be covered. If you're not subscribed here, consider it. If you don't, I'll be sad, but I'll get over it. Done here for now. See you next time.